Vidya Prakashan Mandir Private Limited.
Hello students, let us learn General Science for class 6 from the book Science Squad. Today we are going to learn chapter 9, the habitat and adaptation. In this chapter we shall discuss about the habitats, types and adaptations in plants and animals. Let us begin the chapter. You can find deer around the trees and bushes of the forest. Yes? Yeah. The birds in the branches of trees. You must have noticed this. Snakes are found in this soil. The word habitat means it inhabits or it dwells the place where an organism lives. We'll call it as a habitat. We can say habitat may be a large area such as a pond, forest, ocean, desert, grassland, etc. The place where an organism lives or the place where one would go to find the particular organism is known as the habitat of that organism. It provides food, shelter and suitable environmental conditions for the organisms. Let us now learn about the different types of habitat. Habitat are classified into three types, namely aquatic habitat, that is water habitat, which may be fresh water or marine water or sea water. It includes areas that are permanently covered by water and surrounding areas may be occasionally covered by water. So, aquatic habitats may be classified as oceans or ponds. Oceans are permanently covered by water always, while occasionally covered by water will be the ponds. When there is rain during rainy season or something like that, we can see ponds filled with water. Examples: lakes, reservoirs, springs, ponds, streams, rivers, seas, etc. Terrestrial habitat, that is the land habitat, which includes land like forest, grasslands, mountains, deserts. We call these as a land habitat. Certain living organisms can live only in those places: forests, deserts, mountains, grasslands, etc. Aerial or arboreal habitat. It includes trees, skies, etc. You can see always monkeys lying on the trees. Likewise, birds always fly in the sky. So these animals or organisms will have aerial or arboreal habitat. So there are three types of habitat: aquatic, terrestrial, aerial or arboreal habitats. Let us now classify plants based on the availability of water. Based on the availability of the water, the plants are classified into three types, namely hydrophytes, mesophytes and xerophytes. Now let us learn adaptation of plants. What is meaning of adaptation? It is a special feature that allows an organism to live in a particular place or habitat, is known as adaptation. Let us see how the plants that belongs to hydrophytes, that is more number of amount of water is present, lives. Plants which are adapted to excessive water supply are known as hydrophytes. Examples: Hydrilla ceratophyllum. So plants which are adapted to excessively high supply of water, we'll call it as a hydrophyte. The image which you are seeing is a hydrilla. Mesophytes is a second type of classification of plants. Plants which are adapted to optimum temperature, optimum water supply. So what we are speaking about is based on water alone. So plants which are adapted to excessive water supply, we'll call it as a hydrophytes. Plants which are adapted to optimum supply of water are known as mesophytes. Example, mango, neem. These are very common. Next are xerophytes. Plants which are adapted to dry or arid conditions are known as xerophytes. Examples, Opuntia, Saccharum, Casuarina, Euphorbia. The image shows Casuarina. Let us now learn about the specific adaptations of hydrophytes. Roots. So since they are fully covered with water, roots are poorly developed because we need roots for the plant to get anchored to the soil or to absorb water. Since there are adequate amount of water, we don't require roots. So roots are either poorly developed or absent. Next is the stem. When you see the image, you can see the stems are thick and short. Yes, lily, lotus and all, we can see thick and short stems. These are all floating in the water. Yes, yeah, and these are all modified into rhizome. Rhizome is nothing, a thick bundle of stems are not clearly visible for us. These are modified as a rhizomes. Next is the leaves. When you see the leaves, you can see it is large, flat. You can see all entire with the upper surface coated with wax because if they are floating on the water. So wax means the water will not get attached to the leaves. Thereby they will not disturb the photosynthesis. The wax helps in protecting the leaves from injuries and to prevent clogging of stomata by water because stomata is very important for transpiration. The petioles. The petioles of the stalk are swollen and spongy to provide buoyancy. Buoyancy is nothing for floating. For floating purpose, petioles are very much important. Adaptations of mesophytic plants. Roots. Roots are well developed with fairly branched. You can see clearly the branches. The branches will be having root caps and root hairs that holds the plant, entire plant under the ground. Stems. You can see stems are aerial growing, solid and more branched. Yes, you can see stems are very thick, freely branched. Roots are placed under the soil, so we cannot see clearly, but the plants are erect because of the roots. Leaves, you can see it is large, broad, thick, without any coating. There is no wax or hairs present in them. The stomata are found on both the surfaces of the leaves. Adaptations of last one type of plant is the xerophytes. Roots. You can see there must be well developed roots because these are in less or no water consumption here. Stems. Stems are covered with a thick coating to prevent the transpiration because they are not supplied with water, only soil is there. So they have to control the water expellation from the plant. So either the stems are coated with wax, silica or hairs with them. Stems are modified into thorns also so that the less amount of water is expelled out. These stems modifying into thorns are known as cladodes. Stems may be stunted, that is small, woody, dry, hard, ridged, covered with thick bark and also may be underground. Leaves, you can see leaves are very much reduced. There is no leafy appearance here. Small scales are there for a brief period. That was only is a leaf spines or thorns. Stipules becomes modified into spines. You can see clearly leaf are modified into spines to prevent evaporation. Leaves may be hairy covering to check transpiration. Adaptations in mountain regions. Mountain regions are colder with snowfall and rainfall. In these regions, cone-bearing trees or conifers, pines, fir, and spruces are in abundance. The leaves are modified into tough needles to help the rainwater and snow to slide off easily. You can clearly see there is no proper shape of leaves. These are looking like thin, tough needles. You can see these in the Christmas trees. Adaptations of animals. Animals have developed their bodies to adapt themselves based on their habitats. Aquatic, desert, arboreal, and mountain region. Let us discuss all the adaptations of animals in these particular habitats. Let us first learn about the adaptations in aquatic animals. Streamlined body. So aquatic means we know it is fish most probably. Most of the aquatic animals we can see crab, fishes, oysters or head, body and tail will be compressed a lot. It gives a long streamlined body to suit the movement of them in water. It provides little or no resistance so they can swim easily. Fins and gills. Fins act as paddles to control the direction of the movement. Gills helps in gaseous exchange in water and act as a respiratory organs. So the respiratory organs in aquatic animals, especially in fish, is the gills. Air or swim bladders. It helps the fish to maintain a desired depth of water. That is to only to a particular level of depth. They can swim in the water with the help of this swim bladder. Adaptations in desert animals. Storing water. Some rodents eat fleshy cacti or other plants that store water. They escape from heat. Most of the desert animals burrow deeply into the ground to escape from the direct rays of sun. You can see a rodent burrowing deeply into the ground. Defense and offense. It is most of the desert animals will have a protective coloring or spiny covering on their body to prevent from their enemies. So they will develop well-developed sense organs of heat, sight, smell, and hearing. They travel long distances in sand because it is a desert. You can see the camel, which is having long limbs, padded feet to run easily on the sand, to long for very long distances for food and water. So adaptations in desert animals are for storing water, escape from heat, defense and offense, traveling for long distances in sand. Adaptations in arboreal animals. Stout body, stout limb girdles. You can see monkeys, which give support to the body of arborealism, climbing. They will be having very good, strong, thick body and stout limb Girdles. Girdles are nothing hands and legs. Well-developed claws. You can see the squirrels are having a stronger claws to hold on to other objects. You can see clearly they are holding the claws with the help of the claws. Adhesive pads. Arboreal animals possesses adhesive pads in their fingers and toes to help in climbing and clinging to the trees. You can see the frog clinging to the trees with the help of adhesive pads. Adaptations in mountain regions. Animals will have thick skin or fur to protect them from cold. Strong hooves for scaling the rocky slopes of the mountains. You can see this in sheep. Thick fur on its feet and toes to protect from cold when it walks on the snow. You can see the leopard. Feet and toes are protected with thick fur so that they can walk on the snow. Let us have a chapter recap. Habitat refers to a large area such as pond, a forest, an estuary, a desert, or an ocean. Adaptation is an evolutionary process where an organisms become better suited to its habitat. There are three major types of habitat, namely aquatic, terrestrial, and arboreal habitat. Plants which are adapted to excessive water supply are known as hydrophytes. Plants which are adapted to optimum water supply are known as mesophytes. Plants which are adapted to arid or dry conditions are known as xerophytes. Like plants, animals also develop their bodies to adapt themselves according to the various habitats. This ends the chapter 9.
Vidya Prakashan Mandir